Welcome traders, Adam from Trade with Precision here, and welcome to Vantage Markets Inside the Charts. So this week, big things happened. We saw that dollar index break below a key level of support, break back into the range. All right, we're seeing it close below the halfway point here. So the probabilities of it continuing now to the other side of the range is a very real feasible possibility. However, I would certainly expect some pullbacks this week, possibly to come back into these previous highs before continuing. If it's incredibly weak, we'll see a very shallow pullback and a continuation to the downside. So that being said, when we move across to dollar, we can see it's starting to show a bit of exhaustion here. This is euro dollar. The trend is very nice and healthy. It's just a bit overextended, and I'm looking for some pullbacks towards the moving averages. But for me personally, I'll be looking for buy opportunities to the upside. I think, again, especially if we look at this from a monthly monthly perspective, I think the likelihood of us now continuing to the other side of the month in the coming days or weeks is a very strong likelihood given how strong this weekly candle is. But I do expect some pullbacks before we do that. Just the question really being how shallow or how deep those pullbacks will be. So then having a look at the pound as well, again, that pound not as overextended as the euro dollar, but again, any pullbacks into these previous highs would be for me providing some buying opportunities. The difference is Australian dollar here is not really trending so much at the moment. I do expect it to ultimately move up. New Zealand dollar the same way, looking for it to break some highs here. And so again, there could be some nice lagging opportunities where we do see a follow through, but we've got to wait for it to kind of break through these highs. So there could be some potential breakout trades to the upside. Dollar yen here, generally breaking low, but just look at the number of wicks here underneath. It's very reluctant. It is breaking through support. It should ultimately continue hitting lower. However, I do expect some pullbacks this week as well. It's starting to look a little bit bullish, especially when I look at the crosses, the euro yen, pound yen, kiwi yen, Swiss yen, CAD yen, and so on. They're all looking like we will see some potential moves to the upside as though that yen is actually going to weaken. Moving on, having a look at the Canadian dollar. So Canadian dollar here, again, very much range bound, very volatile. No clear trend at this point in time. I'd stay away from this. Looking to see whether we break back down below this level of support or back up. There's no clear trend here at this point in time. Dollar Swissy, very nice downtrend coming into potential support at some point here. However, I'm looking for some pullbacks and a continuation to the downside. Momentum is very nice and bearish. So for traders, there's some really nice potential opportunities in trending markets against the dollar at the moment. Let's have a look at the global indices. So global indices, especially when you see them on a weekly time frame, they are still essentially range bound. This is the Dow Jones, still range bound. Still think there's a very good chance we'll see it come down to test this level of support. Then we'll assess if we do see some strong bullish candle potentially at the end of the week. We'll see how it holds up. We're past non-farm payroll, and so at this point in time, there's no real very big news that I'd expect to see here. The S&P did break outside of the range, so this is now officially a monthly retracement. We're back into the moving averages here. We could see further downside testing levels of support possibly breaking down. Very cautious here to not allow the media that is panicking and very fear-driven to get that into override the technical analysis. For now, my expectation is simply to watch it, observe, to test each level, and we'll see how we ultimately close out. There's a lot of reasons fundamentally why the US economy and market should still be able to recover despite all the negative news that we're hearing. Let's just see which way it plays out. We could very well find support this week. Let's have a look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ, same thing again, has broken out of this range, is now in a monthly retracement. And yes, there could still be some potential further downside, but just keeping in mind, this is really where we were in November. This is where we are at the moment. It could just simply be letting off a lot of buying pressure. It had an incredibly good run, had a very strong September. Historically, that would have been its correction moment. Now, possibly it's just catching up with it, and it could do with a correction to the downside. For investors, it's a very, very good thing. We'll see how it goes for traders. Cautiously bearish on those. The FTSE here also looking very, very good. Very interesting. In all the years I've been doing this, I've never seen such a disconnect between the US indices and non-US markets as well. They tend to be holding up fine. Here we can see the FTSE holding at support. Let's just put in a little bit of a level there. Resistance versus support, and so we could find this starts to work its way back up to the top of the range. The DAX as well, incredibly good at the moment, definitely starting to stumble. We've got bearish divergence, we've got a bit of a hanging man pattern here. We're starting to stumble, so I would expect some correction or consolidation at the moment in sort of the near future, but overall looking incredibly strong and healthy. Crude oil, I think this is relevant. So when you look at it from a monthly perspective, one of the things I want to just be aware of is although we are sitting at a level of support and we appear to be pushing through it, there's another level of support just below that. When you go to the daily, it looks very much as though we have a beautiful downtrend in play. We've broken through that. We've got a bit of a rejection candle here. So I'm going to be looking for bearish signs and bearish continuation signs this week if this level of support holds. But if it doesn't, I expect crude oil to actually continue to head lower. Nice bearish momentum, and so there could very well be shorting opportunities on this. Looking at gold, gold has lost its certainly lost its daily trend. Let's see where it is on the weekly. From a weekly perspective, it's still very, very bullish. We are in a bubble, and so it can continue to act irrationally. It is very bullish at the moment, just not great for trading opportunities on the daily. No clear trend over here, so just very cautious about that, but it is still looking bullish at this time, even if it is overextended. Silver, by comparison, also attempting to climb up, some bullish candles here, but no clear trend. Again, from a monthly perspective, it continues to push higher. So the one that I find the most interesting is silver. We could very well see a break above these highs. We could see a continuation to the upside, and gold could potentially also keep pushing higher. If we finish off with Bitcoin here, so Bitcoin finishing lower, closing lower as we speak. Level support that failed to hold, continuing lower. For now, I expect it to continue further down and potentially as far as the resistance level, potentially to test that as support. 75,000 is not unrealistic. The question then becomes, will it hold at that level of support? We'll have to find that out at the end of the next week. But for now, my expectation is it'll continue to head lower. From a daily perspective, very nice strong downtrend. Attempted when the US mentioned its reserve, that it's going to hold Bitcoin as a reserve, a special reserve. Instead rejected that, attempted to come back up, produced a very nice bearish candle here and continues to head lower. So for now, the momentum is certainly more bearish than bullish, and you can see the wicks here at the moment. This could be a possible level of support. It is possible, but we appear to be breaking through that at the moment. So for now, my expectation is to see this to continue to head lower. And on that note, ladies and gents, I want to wish you a great week. I'll see you soon.